Good morning. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to kind of break down the squat position. I know we've been working on it and trying to understand sort of where our body is in space. I'm going to give you some exercises to just kind of work on understanding a lot of activation in the squat, right? I think that's a big thing of just kind of like sinking down and not knowing what muscles are pulling us down and what muscles are like lifting us up. So we'll play with that. So we're going to start on our back. We're going to do a core exercise and then a back exercise, and then we'll kind of move on through there, all right? So timer is started. We're going to lay down onto our back. We're going to think about bringing the opposite hand to the opposite knee. You're going to keep that really strong. Notice if you push the knee up to the ceiling just a little bit, then everything hugs down. So you're going to work on keeping this really active. And then opposite arm, opposite leg is going to go to the ceiling. Keep this engaged as you lower the leg all the way down and then lift the leg all the way back up. Feel how the abdominals are drawing down to that left hip with the hand on the knee and coming all the way back up. Feel like the knee lifts up to the ceiling a little bit as the leg goes down, and then use that leverage to come all the way back up. Lift the knee just a little bit higher as you reach down to the ground and then pull all the way back in. Last 5 and coming back. Last 4 and back. Last 3 and back. Last 2 and back. Last 1 and back. I literally feel like I squeeze everything so that my abdominals are squeezed really tight in order to drag my leg back up. So I feel that pressure intensifying, trying to keep everything stable, and then I lift the leg back up. Something to think about, all right? Switching sides. Left hand goes to the right knee. Again, you're going to try to find this position of kind of lifting the knee up to the ceiling, pulling the knee into the hand. So we scoop all the abs down towards the ground. Then lifting the opposite leg up. Notice how we're going to get really tight. Knees lifting up to the ceiling just a little bit, and then pull like a crane all the way back up. Feel the abs getting tighter, pulling in, and then push to lift all the way back up. And feel the abs pulling tighter, and lift, pull all the way in. Last 4, reaching down and pulling back in. Last 3, reach long through the leg and coming all the way back. Last 2, reach long through the leg, pull the abs in. And 1 more, and reaching down and coming all the way back. Beautiful. Take a breath, inhale. And exhale. Turning over onto our belly, we're going to do leg raises, arm and body leg raises. When we do that, I want you to just feel how you're going to draw the belly in off the ground and reach forward through the fingers and back through the toes. That's like the easiest way to think of it, right? But of course, that's like more difficult. I want you to feel like you are shooting arrows out of your legs. So that you feel the leg go from bent to straight. Right? I really want you to work on bent leg straight so that we feel like our butt cheek is squeezing as opposed to bending the knee and then lifting from our hamstring, right? So use that engagement through the leg to squeeze your butt cheek, all right? Arms are gonna be forward, legs are gonna be back. We're gonna be here. We're gonna think of reaching the fingers forward. Notice how we're gonna pull the belly in and squeeze the butt. Then we're gonna think about tucking the chin just a little bit, and then we use the length of lifting up. We imagine a curve, like a bowl, bottom of the bowl all the way through our body, and then slowly lower for 10. Lift, belly in, and lower. Lift, belly in, arms reach, and lower. Lift, belly in, reach, and lower. Last 5, reach every time at the top. Last 4, reach. Last 3, reach. Good, 2, and last 1, and lift. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and slowly release. Very nice. Coming all the way back. Squat. Walking into a plank position. Just so we can kind of warm up the hips a little bit, I really want you to think folding like a little, I haven't said this before, like a little monkey, like a little accordion, right? So I want you to think of folding at the hips and the knees. Notice how they're going to unfold and fold. So we're going to start in a little squat position so you can rock back just a little bit. Notice first how we can kind of sit here, rock ourselves forward, rock ourselves back. As you rock yourself back, try not to drop your weight back of your torso, right? We want to keep our weight forward even though we drop our heels back. and heels back, but I kind of reach forward just a little bit, okay? Just that understanding is gonna be helpful. Now we're gonna walk all the way forward and back up just a little bit. Hopefully I'm still on the camera. And then slowly dropping the knees, start to walk all the way out. Shoot the legs really straight. Feel the head extend all the way forward. Then bend the knees, fold the hips. Notice how your butt's reaching really far back. In order to rock your heels down, you can lift your toes up a little bit. Notice how your torso is leaning forward. Feel the knees go forward. Feel the legs, toes push down to extend the legs all the way straight. Head reaches forward. Bend the knees, stick your butt back behind you as you reach. Notice how we're already tucking our low abs in here. As we drop our weight back to our heels, maybe our toes lift just a little bit. And then walking all the way out 2 more times. Feel reaching through the top of the head. Feel the knees bend, feel the hips pull back. Like you're pulling a string through your spine to sit your hips all the way back into the ground. And 1 more, starting to go all the way forward. Reaching head all the way out through the top of the head, bending the knees, reaching your hips all the way back, come all the way back into a squat position. Very nice, coming all the way forward. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do a knee rotation here. So when we do knee rotation, I want you to think of that same feeling of up and over, all right? So, and we're gonna, we'll just do back and forth, okay? So we're gonna be here. When we go to reach, let's take our legs into more of a 90 degrees. So if you look here, my knee is right in line with my hip. My knee is right in line with my hip. Then I'm gonna have more of a 90-degree bend in my knees. I want you to think about opening the knees really wide, reaching forward just a little bit, and then slowly rocking the knees down to the other side. Notice how you can kind of twist just a little bit. You wanna think of a string lifting us up all the way. And then you're gonna push down through the feet just a little bit as you open the knees wide, and then slowly rotate the knees over to the other side. Notice how that side knee reaches out to lift up really tall through the spine. And then feel like you're reaching up and over the legs as we start to reach the knees over to the other side. Feel the twist through the spine. And think about reaching wide forward through the arms as you reach your knees all the way down into the ground. 3 more. Push to lift all the way up. Feel reaching the knees all the way down. Last 2, reach. Feel the torso lifting up as you reach your knees up to the ceiling and reach your arms over the legs. And last 1, and push. Reach, feel the belly drawing in just a little bit. Feel the spine getting taller. And 1 more, and last 1. And rotate all the way back. Beautiful. And then slowly coming back. Going into kind of the position of the leg, the thigh bone in the hip, right? So instead of, we're gonna do our side reaches over to the side, I'm gonna put a sock on so that I can just slide my leg on the ground instead of using a little slider. So this is my little cheat here. So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna move my mat over, knees gonna be down. And you can walk your hands all the way up. So what we want to think about here, all right? So when our leg is here, making sure we're not going to turn the heel up to the ceiling in order to lift, because that's going to be our butt cheek lifting up to the ceiling. We want to think about turning the heel forward and then lifting from there. Notice how that's going to be a better angle in the pelvis, right? I naturally can lift higher. If you think about continuing to turn the heel down, heel down, heel down, heel down, heel down, the moment you turn your heel in, then we're gonna get stuck here. And notice how my leg kind of goes back that direction, all right? So we're gonna reach out into a side lunge, pull back, lift all the way up. We're gonna do 5 each side. So you're gonna be here. Feel how the heel turns down just a little bit. You're folding in this hip as you reach down in towards a side split. And then you're gonna come all the way back, slide down through the leg, push, lift the toes to the ceiling, heel stays down, slowly lower. Going back out, feel the leg sliding. Feel the engagement through the thigh bone as you reach. Slowly come all the way back, slightly dragging through the inner thigh. Press to lift the leg up. And slowly lower, going back down. Elbows reach, leg folds right in the hip, right? Notice if the knee's forward, we're gonna be cranking in the inner thigh. Knee up to the ceiling a little bit so you can get a little bit more of like stacking the joints or getting the joints in the right spot so that they fold a little easier. And then coming all the way back and push to lift. And then slowly, last 1, leg goes all the way out. Slowly slide all the way back and lift. Very nice. That knee was bent at the very top. I wasn't paying attention. When we're ready, we're gonna switch to the other side. So I'm gonna go, yeah, I think I can just move this mat over here and then I'll be here to the side for you. So we're gonna reach, leg is gonna go forward, elbows can come down. Notice how we're not turning the knee in. We're opening the knee towards the ceiling just a little bit, letting the hip go closer to the ground. Slide that leg back in, feel the inner thigh. Feel how the heel stays down as we lift. And slowly lower, going all the way up. Elbows come down, take a little bit of a stretch, and slowly come all the way back and lift. 3 more, going all the way back out and hip fold. Come all the way back in and lift. Don't fall over. Last 2, reaching all the way out. Push down to slide that leg in and lift. And last 1, elbows go down and then push down to lift that leg up and slowly lower. And taking just a minute. I just want you to know that those come with time, all right? That is something that is just those little muscles learning what to do. So just practicing that, your leg will go higher. I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise. All right, now we're gonna go into our squat with a flat back, all right? So remember when we were working on getting our rib cage down below our thigh bones, all right? So we're gonna be in our wide little squat here, okay? Feet wide, fingers down onto the ground. Feet are slightly turned out, all right? So we're gonna bend our knees halfway. Every part of this is really active, okay? So we're gonna bend our knees actively. Notice how I kind of like have a string on my belly button and I like pull my belly button straight down to the ground. Notice if your belly button pulls down to the ground, your chest and head want to lift up. So allow that to happen, all right? Then you're gonna see here, open the knees a little bit. Lift the toes. Notice how much work is happening in the legs just here, right? You feel your inner thighs working, you feel your hamstrings working. Nothing changes, right? All we do is try to bend the knees a little bit. I try to dig my heels in just a little bit, which will kind of lift my torso up. And then I'm gonna release my hands, lift my hips all the way up, all right? If you need to walk your feet a little in, you can play with that. But it's not just a leg position. What we're really working on is a rotation through the legs. So it all comes from the heel. That heel rotates through the leg, all right? That little rotation is what we're working on as we bend our knee, all right? Because if we keep our legs dropped down here, right, and my knee goes forward, it's gonna kind of drop in a little bit, right? So it's not just pushing the knees open, because now I've kind of come off my foot and I'm like winging open. Notice, rotated, 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 which allows your butt to stick out, your belly button to come down to the ground, head to lift up. We're really active, toes are lifted. Think about pulling your butt down. Heels are reaching forward just a little bit in order to lift those, feel those inner thighs working, feel the torso lifting, hands down, hips lift all the way up. 3 more times. We got this. And heels dig in, knees bend forward, butt reaches back, belly button pulls down to the ground. Notice the flat back every time because I'm trying to kind of shine my sternum forward. If I drop here, my sternum's down, right? I want to reach my sternum up. And then pull the hips down, heels rotate in, which is like little scooping position here. Hands down, lifting the hips back up. 2 more times, and toes up. Bend the knees. Notice how you're digging the heels in to feel the calf rotating. Feel the thigh rotating. Feel the butt reaching back. You can keep your hands on the ground the whole time. I'm showing you how much activity is in the body without using the arms. Try to drop your butt down. Feel the heels rotating forward, which lifts the head up and slowly lower. And last one, bending the knees and reach butt all the way down. Feel how you can adjust the feet now. Feel how your hips are trying to come, like you're trying to compress everything and slowly release. Woo, take a second. You're gonna stretch out your hip flexors. I'm just gonna talk at you while you do that for a second. That is the amount of work that needs to happen in a squat position. You feel how much you're being pulled up and forward through the pelvis. What I was really gonna say is like an accordion, right? Is like, if we think of how an accordion, it folds very much in on itself, right? And then it expands open. But this, like it folds literally in on itself, right? So if we think of that with our joints, if we're back too far, then my like pelvis isn't up on my thigh bones, up on my shin bones in order to stand on my feet, right? So I'm like actually leaning back a little too much here, right? So if I think about shifting my weight forward, not gripping the toes, shifting my weight forward, and then like lifting myself up and over my thighs. Then I'm standing on my joints, and you see how a better angle, sort of like folding through the joints, as opposed to here, where our knees are folded, sure, but the angles aren't like leaning into each other to get that pressure of kind of like sinking into that accordion fold. Does that make sense? You can look at this angle, right? Here, I'm active. My knees, my ankles are working a lot, and kind of letting my shins or my knee bones reach down forward, which is where the stopping point is at the ankles for me. I know that's a little different in your body. All right, beautiful. So if we take that same rotation through the ankles and both legs, and we go into a side lunge, all right? Let's go into this side lunge here, and then we'll do two more things, all right? So legs are gonna be wide. You're gonna have your hands on your knees, all right? If we notice this here, if we think about a little bit turning the heels forward, feel like your calves rotate forward, feel like your heels rotate forward. You don't have to move them, right? It's not about being overly rotated. It's about using the muscles to support that. Fingers down on the ground. Then you're gonna slide one leg out to the side. Notice this, we can work on the rotation here on this left leg. From the inner thigh rotating, setting the knee forward to the second toe. Big toe is pushing down because the toes are lifted. This is the rotation in the left leg in our side lunge, because our hip just goes closer to the ground, closer to our heel, but we go forward like our knee stays open. Slowly release, pull that leg all the way in, and then switch. Left leg goes out to the side, hand onto the knee. Make sure that knee is right over the ankle. Feel that calf wrap. Notice how that kind of folds you a little bit more to sink into that left leg. Hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come back and coming to stand all the way up. Shake out your legs. Same idea. Reaching into a side lunge. This time our feet are wide, but our hip is gonna come close to our ankle, so you're gonna bend. Same thing, folding, accordion, right? Accordion, accordion. Try to lift the toes just a little bit. Notice the angles here, all right? And then we're still light on our hands because we're standing on our legs, right? The moment we go back, we're gonna lose it, right? So I want you to keep standing on the leg and then sneak your hand back. And then you're gonna start to rotate, folding here in that hip. Notice how the knee is like back on the diagonal. We're not turning the knee in, right? It naturally wants to go open in order to open the space from knee to knee. And then push the switch up and over to the other side. I'm gonna turn on a slight diagonal for you to see. Bending the knee, feel the calf rotate. Calf rotates so that everything folds like a little accordion here on this left leg. Notice how everything is forward here, all right? Then just one hand sneaks back. And then you start to set that hip down. Notice how you're kind of rotating that hip forward a little bit to come down. So that again, if we're here, we're forward of the leg rather than all the way back, right? Forward. Then you stand. Push the lift all the way up. Let's do one more time. Each side, shake out the legs. Very nice. And then bending the knee. I'm gonna go, let's go this way. We'll do this way in both directions. Hip fold, notice. Knee tracks, second toe. Heels digging in to allow that calf to rotate in order to sit down into the side lunge. I'm folding in the left hip. The left hip is kind of sinking down to the ground so they can kind of set that butt cheek down. The more active you are with the legs, the less you'll fall back. Feel like you're standing on your legs, and then that's gonna help you push the lift all the way up. Now you can watch this hip fold as we reach to the other side. Left knee bends and rotate, or the opposite leg, wherever you're at, and rotate through the calf. Feel the hip coming closer to the heel. Hip comes closer to the heel. Notice how this leg rotates a little bit. Knee is active, thigh is engaged, and I'm pressing that hip down into the ground as I reach. This leg is really strong, like I'm pushing the lift up, and then you can stand on the leg, come all the way back, and slowly release. Take a moment. I'm gonna have you do a lunge and things after that, so do whatever your body needs, but that is kind of us understanding more of what work needs to happen in the front of the pelvis to make the hip flexors fold well in a squat position. So there you have it. Enjoy.